A very good evening and welcome to the news tonight, your one stop for the day's top stories. Let's start with the headlines. Countdown begins for the presidential election. Election Commission announces polls will be held on the 17th of July and counting on the 20th of July. Last date for filing nominations will be 28th of June. Violence continues during farmers' agitation in Madhya Pradesh's Mandsaur district. Protesters set fire to vehicles. Administration suspends telecom services in Ratlam, Neemach, Mandsaur and Ujjain. The RBI keeps key rates unchanged. Repo rate is unchanged at 6.25%. Reverse repo rate stays at 6%. Growth projection for 2017-18 has been cut to 7.3%. And the Iranian parliament is attacked. At least 12 persons killed and 30 injured after 4 gunmen fire at guards protecting the parliament building and mausoleum in Tehran. Terror group Islamic State claims responsibility for the attack. Our top story this evening, the Election Commission on Wednesday announced that the election to the post of president will be held on the 17th of July. Announcing the election schedule, the EC said that it wanted the voting process to be completed before the 24th of July, the day when President Pranab Mukherjee completes his tenure. According to the Election Commission announcement, votes will be counted on the 20th of July. The date for issuing notification will be the 14th of June, while the last date for filing nominations is the 28th of June. Nominations will be scrutinized on the 29th of June, while the last date for withdrawal of nominations is the 1st of July. The Commission also warned parties against issuing whips regarding the elections. Elections will take place through a secret ballot.
The term of office of Shri Pranab Mukherjee, President of India, is ending on 24th July. As per Article 62 of the Constitution, an election to fill the vacancy caused by the expiration of the term of office of the outgoing President is required to be completed before the expiration of the term. The Election Commission of India is mandated to ensure that the election to the office of the President of India, which is the highest elective office in the nation, must be free and fair, and the Commission is taking all necessary steps for discharging its constitutional responsibilities.
No indication coming of any names either from the government or the opposition. Will keep track of developments there. Meanwhile, the other big story that we've been tracking for days now, the farmers' agitation in Madhya Pradesh intensified on Wednesday with angry protesters indulging in arson. Public property was also vandalized. Despite curfew and suspended mobile internet services, the protest was widespread. Farmers burned vehicles and threatened to continue their agitation till their demands were met.
Violence in Madhya Pradesh's Mandsaur continued unabated on Wednesday, with protesters setting fire to 8 to 10 vehicles. The administration has suspended cellular data services in Ratlam, Neemach, Mandsaur and Ujjain. In order to control the unrest, the state government has sought more forces from the centre.
किसानों के हित में जो मांगे हैं, किसानों के खाद बीज नहीं मिल रहा है, फसलें 2 रुपए किलो खरीदी जा रही है, प्याज नहीं बिक रहा है, किसानों जो दुर्दशा हो रही है, किसानों की जो अभी हत्या हुई है, किसान जो हमारे जिनकी किसानों की हत्या की है उसके संबंध में हम उनके सरकार के खिलाफ ये प्रदर्शन कर रहे हैं और उनकी जब तक मांगे पूरी नहीं होंगी, जब तक हम ऐसे ही प्रदर्शन करते रहेंगे और इससे भी उग्र प्रदर्शन करेंगे।
माननीय मुख्यमंत्री अपने आप को कृषि पुत्र, कृषक का बेटा कहते हैं। शर्म आनी चाहिए। कोई कृषक क्या किसी को गोली मारेगा? कोई मारेगा क्या? बताएं। हम किसान हैं, हम किसानों का दुख दर्द जानते हैं, इसलिए सड़क पे खड़े हुए हैं। हम खुद किसान हैं, इसलिए ये आंदोलन कर रहे हैं। क्यों? कि हमें हमारी खून पसीने की कमाई का कुछ भी नहीं मिल रहा।
कृषि के क्षेत्र में किसानों के हित में एक नई अनेक योजनाएं बनाई है। भारत सरकार और केंद्र सरकार के साथ साथ राज्य सरकार से जो जो योजनाएं बनी है उसमें किसानों के हित संरक्षण की बहुत सारी योजनाएं और उनको लाभान्वित किया जा रहा है। सर्वाधिक हितैषी अगर कोई है किसानों के तो शिवराज सिंह जी है। दुखद घटना हुई है मंदसौर में, नहीं होना चाहिए। मालवा के किसान हमेशा से शांत प्रिय रहे हैं।
Agitated farmers who have been demanding debt relief and better prices for their crops heckled Mandsaur collector and a superintendent of police when they tried to pacify them. The agitators are also demanding a visit from the chief minister to Mandsaur.
इनको आश्वासन दिया है टीआई के विरुद्ध कड़ी से कड़ी कार्रवाई की जाएगी, है ना, और कोई भी आदेश नहीं था गोली चलाने का।
However, a political blame game on the matter has already begun. Union Minister M. Naidu blames the Congress for instigating farmers. He also asserts that the matter will be resolved in due course and his government was committed to addressing farmers' problems. Madhya Pradesh Chief Minister Shivraj Singh Chauhan also blames the opposition party.
मध्य प्रदेश में मंदसौर इलाका में फायरिंग के कारण से किसान मर गए, ये बहुत दुर्भाग्यपूर्ण बात है। कांग्रेस वाले इसको राजनीतिक रूप लेके वहां हिंसा को प्रेरित करने के लिए प्रयास किया, फिर दुर्भाग्यपूर्ण अभी 4 लोग या 5 लोग का जान गए। ये दुर्भाग्यपूर्ण है, इसके ऊपर जांच होगा, मगर आई ओनली टेल द कांग्रेस पार्टी प्लीज डोंट पॉलिटिकलाइज।
हमेशा बीजेपी की राजनीतिक रणनीति रहती है कि जहां वे कोई जवाब नहीं दे पाए, जहां वो कहीं सफाई नहीं दे पाते, ये कहते हैं ये विरोधी दल इसका कर रहे हैं। आज देश का आम किसान, अन्नदाता किसी एक विशेष पार्टी से नहीं जुड़ा, वो अपने हितों की रक्षा कर रहा है।
राज आ गया, तानाशाही राज आ गया। अगर इस देश का किसान और गरीब अपनी आवाज नहीं उठा सकता है, इस देश का आम व्यक्ति अगर अपनी बात नहीं कर सकता है, तो फिर तो प्रजातंत्र खत्म हो गया है। इससे क्यों ना तानाशाह रूल हिंदुस्तान में कर दिया जाए।
का मैसेकर किसान का ये 5 की 6 की संख्या दे रहे हैं। मैं मानता हूँ वहाँ ज्यादा लोग गोली के और संख्या ज्यादा है मृतकों की, और आंख मिचोली कर रहे हैं, पहले 10 लाख फिर 1 करोड़, यानी किसी तरह से भी किसान के मुद्दों को दबाना चाहते हैं। हम लोग भी सोच रहे हैं कि जो किसानों के ऊपर एक तरह से बर्बर हमला हुआ है, इसका प्रतिकार करने के लिए हम लोग भी जाएंगे।
Farmers in the area have been protesting since June 1st, demanding higher minimum support prices for their produce, among other things. Farmers in neighbouring Maharashtra have held similar protests and have stopped supplies to urban areas, leading to a spike in the prices of vegetables and dairy products. Bureau Report, Rajya Sabha TV.
The Reserve Bank of India kept the repo rate unchanged in its second bi-monthly policy for the financial year 2017-18 on Wednesday. The central bank also lowered inflation projections and maintained that the implementation of the GST is not expected to have a material impact on overall inflation.
No reprieve for borrowers on Wednesday as the RBI Monetary Policy Panel voted to maintain status quo on key rates. The repo rate at which RBI lends to banks was retained at 6.25%, while the cash reserve ratio, or the amount of deposits that banks park with the RBI, was kept unchanged at 4%. The RBI, however, cut the statutory liquidity ratio, the portion of bank deposits that have to be invested in government securities, by 50 basis points to 20%.
The MPC was also cognizant of several earlier enunciated risks to the medium term: rising rural wages, robust consumption demand, the imminent implementation of the 7th Pay Commission's award on HRA, and the acceptance of these by state governments, and global risks materializing in the form of imported inflation.
The RBI expects retail inflation to fall to 2 to 3.5% in the first half of current fiscal and move up to 4.5% in the second half. It also warned of the fiscal situation getting out of hand if states continue to waive farm loans and encourage inflation.
The MPC resolution says that the risk of fiscal slippages, which by and large can entail inflationary spillovers, has risen with the announcements of the large farm loan waivers. There is a risk that unless there is existing fiscal space in state government budgets or some space is found, the likelihood of going down this slippery path and dissipating the important gains that we have made in fiscal rectitude over the last 2-3 years can come about.
The markets responded cautiously to the RBI's decision. The Nifty 50 closed higher by 27 points or 0.28% at 9,664, while BSE Sensex rose by 81 points to 31,271 as RBI softened hawkish tone on inflation. The RBI also underscored the need to revive private investment, restore banking sector health, and improve infrastructural bottlenecks. But for the first time, a monetary panel member differed on the policy rate decision. External member Ravindra Dholakia was not in favour of a pause in policy rate, while the other 5 voted in favour of it. Priti Mishra, Rajya Sabha TV.
A special CBI court on Wednesday exempted senior BJP leaders L.K. Advani, Murli Manohar Joshi and Uma Bharti from personal appearances in connection with the Babri demolition case. On the 30th of May, a special CBI court had in Lucknow framed charges against 12 people, including these 3 BJP leaders. Later, all the accused were granted bail on a personal bond of 50,000 rupees each. The special court is conducting daily hearings as sought by the Supreme Court. Now to Assam, where over 1 lakh people have been affected by floods in Lakhimpur and Karimganj districts, while 4 rivers are flowing above the danger mark across the state. As per Assam State Disaster Management Authority, over 1 lakh people are reeling due to floods in the 2 districts, whereas 140 villages are underwater. Karimganj is the worst affected, with nearly over 97,000 people being affected, while more than 4,500 people were hit in Lakhimpur. Currently, 4 rivers are flowing above the danger mark across the state, including Dhansiri and Kushiara. The calamity has damaged crops in close to 400 hectares of land. Meanwhile, talking about the weather, the capital, Delhi, got some respite from the scorching heat after light rains accompanied with winds lowered temperatures considerably. IMD has also predicted 98% rainfall forecast over northwest India, including Uttar Pradesh, Haryana and Delhi. And here's a look at what else made news across the country today in Nationwide. At least 22 people were killed and several others injured in a massive fire that broke out at a cracker factory in Madhya Pradesh's Balaghat district. According to reports, the death toll may climb to 40, as many of them are in a critical condition. Chief Minister Shivraj Singh Chauhan has announced a compensation of 2 lakh rupees each to the next of kin of the deceased. He also promised to bear all the expenses of the treatment of the injured. The Supreme Court on Wednesday refused to grant relief to Kolkata High Court Justice C.S. Karnan in the contempt of court case. The top court sentenced Justice Karnan to 6 months imprisonment. Earlier on May 19th, the Apex Court had rejected Justice Karnan's plea for recall of the 6-month jail term, stating that the petition was not maintainable. The Supreme Court also set aside the Allahabad High Court's order that quashed 50% institutional preference in admission to PG medical seats. The top court said that the 2 central universities, BHU and AMU, and the government-run medical colleges in Uttar Pradesh can conduct counselling and fill up the seats by the 12th of June. A young militant who was seen at the funeral of Hizbul commander Sabzar Ahmed Bhatt surrendered before the Handwara police on Wednesday. The militant, identified as Danish Ahmed, was involved in stone-pelting incidents at Handwara last year. Earlier, he was picked up by the police but was let off after counselling. According to a police official, Danish is being considered under the Jammu and Kashmir Surrendered Militants Rehabilitation Policy. Four suspected terrorists and an officer were killed while 3 others were injured in an encounter in Nagaland's Mon district. The suspected terrorists belong to the National Socialist Council of Nagaland faction. An Assam Rifles officer was also killed in the encounter. A quick break here. We'll be back with more news in a bit. Stay with us.
अगर बायलैटरल क्रिकेट टाइज नामुमकिन है तो मल्टीलैटरल इवेंट्स खेलने का क्या मतलब है?
आतंकवाद और खेल साथ साथ नहीं चलता।
कॉन्फ्लिक्ट ऑफ इंटरेस्ट एक बहुत बड़ा इशू है और जिस तरह से क्रिकेटर्स पैसे बना रहे हैं उन इश्यूज को अभी तक किसी ने डील नहीं किया है।
उसके ऊपर सुप्रीम कोर्ट पहले ही बैठी हुई है। मेरा रिएक्ट करना मैं नहीं समझता कोई नई बात होगी।
There is an impression that all is not well between you and Mr. Manoj Tiwari.
कुछ गलतफहमी हुई थी वो दूर हो गई है। तो ऐसा तो हो जाता है, परिवार में भी हो जाता है, बाहर भी हो जाता है।
Watch to the point with Minister of State for Youth Affairs and Sports Vijay Goyal only on Rajya Sabha television.
The sacred relics of Buddha were unearthed in Piprava in Uttar Pradesh. Buddhist monks from all over the world visit the National Museum to pay their respects. These charred bone fragments of Buddha are housed in the gold canopy gifted by the royal family of Thailand.
Welcome back. Let's get you international news now. And the top story that we're tracking is in the capital of Iran. Tehran was attacked in a first ever assault by the terrorist organization Islamic State today. At least 12 people were killed and over 30 injured in twin suicide attacks on the parliament and on the landmark shrine of the founder of the Islamic Republic, Ayatollah Ruhollah Khomeini.
In coordinated attacks, 4 gunmen burst into Tehran's parliament complex with rifles. One of them blew himself up on the 4th floor, killing at least 5 people. Half an hour later, 3 to 4 people opened fire at the shrine of the country's revolutionary founder, Ayatollah Khomeini, 25 kilometers away from the parliament. One of the attackers detonated a suicide belt, killing at least 2 people on the spot. 30 people were injured in both blasts. Unconfirmed reports spoke of a continuing hostage situation, even as officials claimed they foiled a third plot and urged people to avoid public transport as a precaution.
تو بیمارستان بعد 5 دقیقه 2-3 دقیقه صدای تیراندازی رو شنیدم و بعد دیگه همین شلوغ شد و نیروهای انتظامی اومدن خیابون رو بستن. تا حالا همینطور هستیم.
ما اینجا وایساده بودیم یهو دیدیم مامورا رو چند نفر گفتن 5 نفر رفته داخل یه شلیک کردن ما حتی یکیشون دیدیم از اینجا زدن به قلبشون خورد همینطوری افتاد زمین بعد دیدیم اینجا گذاشتن داخل ویلچر بردنش داخل بیمارستان.
Terror group Islamic State has claimed responsibility for the attacks that are the first assaults within Iran's borders. This is the most serious terrorist violence in Tehran since the 1979 Islamic Revolution. Despite Iran's active involvement in fighting Islamic State in both Iraq and Syria, the Sunni group has not so far carried out any attacks inside Iran. Further, it appears to have little support in this predominantly Shia country. However, the Islamic State published a rare video in Persian in March, warning it will conquer Iran and restore it to the Sunni Muslim nation as it was before. Bureau Report, Rajya Sabha TV.
Meanwhile, efforts are on to resolve the ongoing diplomatic dispute between Qatar and the Arab countries. While Saudi Arabia says that Qatar must take several steps to restore ties with other Arab states, Turkey says that isolating the country alone will not solve the crisis. Meanwhile, the United States has also appeared to support Qatar in its feud with Saudi Arabia and the regional allies. Qatar is being accused of providing funding to Islamists, an allegation which it vehemently denies.
The political storm surrounding Qatar has impacted normal life in one of the world's biggest producers of natural gas. The diplomatic row has affected both travel and food imports. Thousands of trucks filled with food are stuck at the Saudi-Qatari border, unable to enter Qatar. Saudi Arabia has closed the border and even halted air and sea traffic. Chaotic scenes were also witnessed in Qatari supermarkets as people raced to stock up groceries. Qatar relies heavily on food imports, especially those coming over its only land border with Saudi Arabia. On Wednesday, Saudi Arabia said that Qatar must take several steps to restore ties with other Arab states.
We want to see Qatar implement the promises it made a few years back with regard to its support for extremist groups, with regards to its hostile media, with regards to its interference in the affairs of other countries. And we have taken this step with great pain in order to make sure that Qatar understands that these policies are not acceptable and not sustainable and that they must change.
Meanwhile, US President Donald Trump called up the King of Saudi Arabia to urge Gulf unity to resolve issues and restore cooperation over the Qatar dispute.
This issue is not new. It's been there's been tension among Qatar's neighbors for quite some time, and the situation was notified through proper diplomatic channels. The United States continues to be in close communication with all the parties to resolve the issues and restore cooperation, which is so important to regional security there. I think that there is note that his message of toughness on terror finance and extremism is being heeded by countries in the region, but the U.S. still wants to see this issue de-escalated and resolved immediately.
Turkey, on the other hand, has said isolating Qatar would not resolve any problems and has called for mutual dialogue. Iraq also says it is not taking sides in the dispute that pits Saudi Arabia and other Gulf countries.
Körfez İşbirliği Konseyi üyelerinin kendilerindeki meseleleri karşılıklı diyalog yoluyla çözmesi en doğru yoldur. Bu çerçevede Katar'ın ortaya koyduğu soğukkanlı ve yapıcı tutumu takdirle karşılıyoruz.
احنا مطالفة الخلافات تعرفون بالسابق كانت الدول تختلف فيما بينها بس تتفق ضدنا. الحمد لله لأول مرة هي تتفق مع العراق، هذا جيد. الدول رغم أنها تختلف بس كلها يعني تود العراق ولها مصالح مع العراق، وهذا تغيير استراتيجي في السياسة العراقية.
On Monday, Bahrain, Egypt, Saudi Arabia and the United Arab Emirates cut all diplomatic ties with Qatar, accusing it of supporting terrorism. Bureau Report, Rajya Sabha TV.
Nepali Congress President Sher Bahadur Deoba on Wednesday was sworn in as the 40th Prime Minister of Nepal. President Bidya Devi Bhandari administered the oath of office and secrecy to the newly elected Prime Minister in Kathmandu. 7 other ministers, including 3 deputy Prime Ministers, have also taken the oath. The senior Nepali Congress leader has taken the charge of Prime Minister for the 4th time. On Tuesday, Deoba secured 388 votes in his favour in an election in Parliament. The post of Prime Minister fell vacant after Maoist leader Prachanda resigned last month under a power-sharing deal with the Nepali Congress leader. Meanwhile, British Prime Minister Theresa May's last day of campaigning didn't go too well, with a chorus of boos greeting her at London's biggest meat market. Even as May is widely expected to win re-election in the vote on Thursday, she has had to hear loud shouts of vote Labour. However, the Prime Minister looked unfazed, shaking hands with supporters. May called the snap election in April in a bid to increase her majority and strengthen her hand for the Brexit talks. But her campaign has struggled in recent weeks due to a series of policy missteps. The Labour camp has closed in considerably in opinion polls, with one poll saying that there's only a 1-point difference. However, voters remain divided on whether Labour leader Jeremy Corbyn does stand a chance of seizing victory.
I think he has a faint chance, but I still predict Theresa May has probably get a majority of 50 or so. But who knows? I mean, the polls are all over the place. This latest this latest terrorist attack, who knows whether that plays to Corbyn's advantage or Theresa May's?
I think Theresa May's got a bit of a shock. I think she assumed that if she played on personalities, that compared to Corbyn, she would be a shoo-in. And I think actually Corbyn has run a surprisingly competent campaign.
I don't know, with the two leaders, it's a bit of a best of a bad bunch, really. I think Theresa May's have a difficult one because obviously I'm only going to talk about Theresa and Corbyn because I think they're the only two that are in the runners. She's had a bit of a difficult job. This is her chance, I suppose, to be elected in, but even so, it's a short notice. I don't know. As for Corbyn, he doesn't really do it for me.
And here are more updates from across the world in Global Buzz. London police on Wednesday announced a new arrest linked to the recent attack in the city. The 30-year-old suspect was arrested in eastern London near Barking City, where 2 other attackers resided. At least 7 people were killed and 48 others injured in the attack. Islamic State had claimed responsibility for the attack. Philippines police on Wednesday started clearing operations in several houses in Marawi City as troops continued their offensive against Islamic militants. High-powered firearms and weapons were recovered from the site, along with cash and checks worth $1.5 million at a gunpoint post. The attack raised concern that the terror group was building a regional base in Mindanao that could pose a threat to neighboring Indonesia, Malaysia and Singapore. China is likely to set up a new military base in Pakistan. According to US Congress report, Pakistan was singled out as a possible location for overseas bases after China established a base in the African nation of Djibouti. However, the report did not address India's potential reaction to a Chinese base in Pakistan. UN agencies warned Sri Lanka that possible diseases like diarrhea and dengue are starting to spiral out of control in the wake of the worst floods in over a decade. The death toll in heavy floods caused by Cyclone Mora has risen to 224. Over 7 lakh people also got affected in south and central Sri Lanka. And finally in sports, Dominic Thiem stunned defending champion Novak Djokovic to set up a French Open semi-final against Rafael Nadal. In a straight sets victory, Thiem proved why he is considered one of the most exciting young talents in the game today. He blasted 38 winners as he raced to a 7-6, 6-3, 6-love victory. Defending champion Djokovic gave up too easily, a shadow of himself that won the title in 2016. The journey for Thiem, on the other hand, was remarkable because he won just a single game the last time that they met at the Italian Open 3 weeks ago. Thiem will now play Rafael Nadal in the semi-final. Nadal played compatriot Pablo Carreno Busta before the latter retired, sending Nadal to the semi-final. That's all we have for you in the news tonight. Thank you for joining us.